All right, Harrison Ott with us here on Wisconsin.golf after a spectacular round of 1 under. Spectacular because it's 17 pars and 1 birdie. Very consistent. Was it
Yeah.
as clean and uneventful as it looks on the old live scoring?
Yeah, I mentioned you before this. I had one other round where I went 17 pars and 1 birdie, but it was at a national championship, and so I've never experienced that level of uneventfulness because at the Blessings I was getting up and down and like making good pars, and here it was just like every hole I was like, when am I gonna make a birdie? So yeah, it was definitely as uneventful as that looks.
Which was the other one? Which tournament?
The national championship at the Blessings.
Oh, okay,
I
gotcha.
think maybe the second or third round.
Okay,
So.
sure. And so you're still, again, finding things and exploring. What do you hope to get out of this tomorrow and to kind of be a springboard into next year?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if I did the same thing tomorrow, I wouldn't be that upset. So just keep hitting it good. I mean, I know I'm putting it good. They just didn't go in. So I'm not too worked up about today. I mean, happy with it. I wish, if you live and die by the scoreboard and score, I wish it was better. But, I mean, I'm happy with how it was. So I'd be happy doing something similar to the last 2 days tomorrow. But, I'd really like to see some putts go in for score-wise, and because I haven't lost confidence in it, so I don't need them to or necessarily, but that would definitely be nice to, after the last couple days of similar golf, not making many putts, not seeing many go in, I should say, I would like to, maybe fill it up a little bit tomorrow.
As we hit New Year's Eve, though, there's a lot to unravel as you look ahead to 2022 for both you and Hunter. One more semester, I think it is, of college golf. Is that concept seem kind of daunting or unbelievable at this point?
Definitely doesn't seem daunting. I mean, I think Hunter and I, because we kind of had to like reset in the middle of our, right before our senior years, because we were done with junior year, or COVID hit, and we were basically like, okay, we got one more year left, and then like, wait a minute, we got two. Wait, do I want to do one or two? I think both of us were, thinking about both of us had to think about it at some point. So, I think it's probably not daunting, but it's definitely just weird to think that in a couple months, 5 years have gone by, or I guess 4 months and 4 years and 9 months, whatever. But still,
right.
Yeah.
So, listening to you and Kyle out on the golf course, I mean, there's a lot to think about. How do you compartmentalize, when do I turn pro? How is that going to look? And with trying to make sure that you give your full attention to, the final semester at Vanderbilt.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, I've definitely had times where it doesn't overwhelm me, but I probably put too much thought into it. But I think the strategy that's been good is just being like, just accepting the unknown a little bit and I'm sure that's what really good pros have to do, is like just accept, like, I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't know when I'm turning pro. I don't know how I'm going to do this or that, but just the fact that, like, knowing I will do that is what's important, I think. So
when will that happen? What is the the parameters or the measuring stick for when in this, how soon after graduation does that come?
I think a lot depends on, like, status you have / where you think you can, how soon you think you can make money.
Mm-hmm.
So I really don't know. A lot depends on, like, getting status. Yeah, so like I said, just accepting the unknown. I really don't know.
Will you try to do that here? Can you? Is there anything you can do before the spring season starts? I heard you talk about Canada.
Yeah, that's in the middle of the spring season, so I plan to do that.
Okay.
That's the first step, and then go from there probably.
So if you get status there, that would be kind of maybe an incentive then to do it sooner versus later. But do you anticipate by the State Open that you would be professional?
Yeah, probably certainly I would think, but like I said, who really knows? I don't know.
And do you ever look at this? I haven't really looked this year at PGA Tour University. Is that seems like it seems like a good idea, but it's also, there's a lot of guys in that pool, aren't there?
Yeah, and not counting summer tournaments and stuff like that. There's I don't pay much attention to it. So,
okay.
But that probably might be where I was coming from versus others. So I don't know.
Sure.
I'm not saying that as a whole.
Right. But in your situation. Yep.
Yeah.
As we look at the State Open and going for 3 in a row, Ozaki Country Club comes up in the rotation. What's your experience with Ozaki Country Club, and how do you look ahead as we look at all the great things that can happen here in 2022? 3 in a row would be something spectacular.
Yeah, well, we were just talking. I played my first state am there. I didn't really know it was my first, but if I would have put thought into it, I think I would have figured it out. I remember being really nervous on one. I remember a handful of shots I hit, not very many, and I remember the course very well. And I have a bunch of people I know out there who have been telling me about the course and things that have been changed and stuff. So, but I love that type of golf. It'll be interesting to play it having a different viewpoint, because back then I didn't love that type of golf, type tree line, which is funny because that probably suited me better back then. I had a competitive advantage over college players when I was 15 or whatever.
Sure.
So yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, it's Blue Mountain, Milwaukee, and Ozaki are the ones everyone raves about, and with good reason. So
sure. Do you at that state am? I mean, you qualified with a 68 at Watertown Country Club, so I'm thinking maybe you went in there with a little swagger and like, okay, I'm going to show people what's coming.
Well, so I actually remember I won 2 AJGAs in a row, came back, and like 2 days later played the state am, and like college coaches had driven from other states to watch me, and that really kind of threw me off. Like, wait a minute,
at the qualifier?
At the
state am?
At the am, yeah.
Really?
So the qualifier was earlier, and so
Yeah.
I remember that kind of made me a little more nervous. Was you think you're at home and you might see like Wisconsin and Marquette, but there was probably like 4 on the first tee, and I was just like, okay.
Anybody else we would recognize?
I know Purdue was there for sure. I can't remember.
Was Vanderbilt there at that point?
They were not. No,
They were not.
They at least did not come to Wisconsin.
Okay.
Did not make all the way up. But I vividly remember Purdue kind of threw me off.
Yeah.
Like, all right, yeah, they came pretty far for this. So, which I guess wasn't even terribly far, but
No, but for you at that age, but I guess that's what college coaches do when they recognize talent.
yeah.
And
yeah.
we've talked many times, you at that age already had a pretty good reputation for, everyone's looking for the next fill in the blank.
Yeah.
Jordan Niebrugge or Charlie Danielson or Steve Stricker or Jerry Kelly, whatever it might be, Mark Wilson.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So at that point you were already feeling that, I suppose.
Not really. That might have been the very moment that things changed in my mind, honestly, because I remember coming home from those 2 AJGAs, and like my parents were like, oh, have you responded to those college letters or something? And I was like, nah, I'll get to it later. So that first tee with Coach Bradley at Purdue might have been the very moment where things changed from like, okay, yeah, like I love playing golf, to like, okay, yeah, golf's take me places. So
Yeah.
which is an innocence that can be valuable sometimes.
So you talked about even traditional versus modern courses. I don't know if you'll be amateur long enough to be at Sand Valley, but the 2022 holds 2 very different courses in that respect. Why do you say now that you have come to? You've always liked traditional tree line courses. Why do you played them well then, or you feel you can play them even better now?
I didn't play them well back then,
Okay.
which is funny because obviously I hit the ball shorter, and back
Right.
then I used to really like shaping the ball,
Sure.
which you would think in theory might help out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's funny that like now that's the golf I appreciate. I mean, I still go to St. Valley and I love playing there with my buddies and stuff like that. And I love Erin Hills. It's one of my favorite courses, but I just love going to like a tight-ish country club that has like a cool feel around the clubhouse, and the members take huge pride in it. Like Pine Hills this year, I thought it was cool, like how much pride the membership took in it, and like that view of the clubhouse and everything. So I think just the whole feel of
Sure.
like a little bit exclusivity might be something
Yeah.
that I like. So yeah, but the courses I like that type of golf, running shots up, which I suppose you get at like Sand Valley and Erin Hills as well. But yeah, and big breaking putts. Back then that was a nuisance for me, but now I like it. So.
You don't seem like a guy that maybe sits down at a table with a piece of paper and puts like at the checklist, win the state open. It's not something that you write about, put in journals. It's just something you go out and do. This whole idea of maybe winning 3 in a row, I mean, I'm sure at one point that was probably a pipe dream, but now it's, you've got the you're the only one in the field that'll have that
Yeah,
chance. I
yeah.
mean, as they say. I mean, when you look at how far you've come in that respect, is it pretty cool that you have this opportunity in 2022 to win 3 in a row?
I think so. Like going through the college season I did last year, and then playing. Like I was just talking to a buddy, and I hadn't even really reflected on the State Open, but like I realized like literally a couple weeks ago that like something I learned about myself at the State Open was just like willingness and like the competitiveness that I had as like a kid, because I definitely did not have the game to win that week, but I just like competed as hard as I could. I competed my heart out, and so a couple weeks ago I realized like, yeah, that was a lot like playing golf as a kid, wasn't it? And so they've just been so different, but it definitely means a lot that I have the chance to win 3, probably because last year meant a lot to me, and I feel like I learned a lot from it. So,
and lastly, if Hunter stays where he is here, I mean, between Pearson and Hunter, there's 2 guys in a 3 Wisconsin, contingent here that have a great chance to knock you off. I mean, that speaks to the competition level that you guys have really given each other the last few years.
For sure, and that's what everyone's like kind of been hoping to develop in junior golf, and you get older and everyone develops further and further and kind of gets closer. Like the difference between a 12-year-old and 13-year-old is huge, but the difference between a 20-year-old and a 23-year-old is nothing.
Right.
So, that's kind of what I think everyone's been hoping for in the state, and it'll be good.
Cool. All right. Well, good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.